July meeting of the Land Use Board order at 6 o'clock. This is a little bit weird. I'm opening the meeting. This is our first business meeting of the year. So the board will elect a chair and a vice chair. So I'll do the meeting before they do that. But before we do any of that, we'll everybody will stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You remain standing. Green.
All right, we're going to pray. Father, we just come to you tonight. We thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to come and deliberate the business of the county, Lord. And we just thank you for the opportunity, for the privilege, Lord, to live in this beautiful place, Union County. We pray, Lord, that you would guide and direct all our decisions tonight. And just be with us as we make those decisions. And we thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
We're going to have first the election of our chair. I will open the floor to nominations for land use board chair.
I nominate Darren Green.
Okay, so we've got a nomination for Darren Green. Got a second? Any other nominations? All right, hearing none, we'll close the nominations for chair. We've got a motion for Darren to be chair and a second. Darren, do you accept that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Dan, congratulations.
Sure.
Second order of business, we'll open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate the world famous Rick Davis.
Okay. We have a nomination for David.
I'll second. Well,
Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? There being none, we'll close those nominations. Rick, are you okay, comfortable serving as vice chair?
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. All in favor of Rick as vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. I will hand this gavel back to you.
thank you, sir. We will now move to the administering of the oath of office to our two members that have been reappointed, Mr. Doug McClue and Mr. Charles Walkup Jr.
All right. Do you, Doug McClure, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the Union County Land Use Board, so help you God? Do you, Doug McClure, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I do.
And do you, Doug McClure, swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office as a member of the Union County Land Use Board according to the best of your skill and ability, according to law, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Do you, Charles Walkup Jr., solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the Union County Land Use Board, so help you God? Do you, Charles Walkup Jr., solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, that you will faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
God's help, I will.
And do you, Charles Walkup Jr., swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office as a member of the Union County Land Use Board according to the best of your skill and ability, according to law, so help you God?
Congratulations, sir. All right, next item is establishing the voting members, and we have a full 7 members tonight, so we are fully established. Next item, additions or deletions to the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions, staff? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve, is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? Next item, approval of the June 17th, 2025 minutes. You guys have seen those. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Is there a second?
I have one change.
Oh, you do have a change? Okay, motion to approve with a change. What's your change, sir?
I'll find it. I should have marked it.
You're the eagle eye. We should have him, we should send them to him and have, because he's the eagle eye. And, there you go.
That was good. The very last sentence, Amy, to close, I second that motion. The last sentence.
Oh, it just says Ann Larry Britt. Okay. Ann Larry Britt second. Okay. So with that, that change, the motion's made, and is there a second? Did we have a second? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? Okay, next item is conditional rezoning petition 2025-CZ-004 Shenandoah. And Bjorn, you will come and talk to us about that, sir.
I'm happy to do so. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a conditional rezoning called Shenandoah for the name of the applicant. It's conditional rezoning, so there's site plan and conditions associated with it. It's a approximately 48-acre parcel on Old Waxhaw Monroe Road. It also has a frontage on NC 75 from RA 40 to R10 with conditions. It's for a 91-unit single-family home development. There's a site plan associated with it. And it looks like this. If you're familiar with NC 75, the large textile plant on the south side of the road is right here. And the existing Stonebridge development is down here. This development is actually a parcel from the early 2000s that was part of the overall site plan for the Stonebridge development. So this would have a connection through onto NC 75. The access is potentially going to be limited to right in, right out, or it'll be full movement. If it does, there'll be turn lanes for it. But otherwise, it has met the 30% open space requirement for the rural parts of Union County. NC 75 is the dividing line. It has a few percent higher than 30%. Otherwise, these are lots that meet the R10 requirements. It's a little more than 2 units per acre in density. In terms of existing conditions, it's a cleared field. You can see along Old Waxhaw Monroe Road towards Waxhaw, looking east on 75 towards Monroe, and then south you can see the Stonebridge development. In terms of development status, you can see the factory immediately to the west, development to the south, not completely built out to the south, large lot residential or undeveloped along NC 75. In terms of environmental features, there really aren't any. It's cleared, it's a farm field, no wetlands, streams, or floodplains. At least none that come up on our map. The applicant has noted this area is a flood, or is a wetland and is part of the open space to be protected, but it doesn't come up on our map. In terms of zoning, the whole area is RA 40, which you would think is strange because of the Stonebridge development to the south that is less than 1 acre lots. That's because it fell under the smart growth development provisions from the 2000s, so got to take advantage of the golf course and a piece of land that was set aside for the school system that allowed them to take credit for open space, and therefore they were able to build with smaller lots. In terms of transportation, NC 75 is not funded for any improvements in the immediate vicinity. Carries approximately 7,500 vehicles per day. Old Waxhaw Monroe carries a little more than 500 per day, and we put our traffic counters out on Stonemarker Drive. We knew that'd be a question in terms of cut-through traffic. It carries approximately 900 cars per day. That will go up as development continues within that neighborhood. In terms of the land use map, you have the overlay of the employment corridor that applies along NC 75. Outside of that, to the south is rural residential, to the north is single family, and then the gray is inside Mineral Springs. School system was consulted for comments, and they noted that this will be served by Western Union, Parkwood, and Parkwood that are all less than 100% utilization right now. This vacant designated land, VDL, is a new acronym they use for essentially the potential yield of build-out within the school cluster enrollment area. They say that this would generate potentially 667 students within the cluster. Union County Water and Sewer are available to the site. Union County staff confirmed that it won't require a lift station, so they will not have to go to the Board of Commissioners for that additional approval. In terms of public feedback, community meeting was held earlier this month. 7 residents attended and asked questions about buffering, road connections, home prices, and schedule for constructing this development. No changes were made as a result of the meeting. And as always, we consult the adjacent municipalities, if there are any. Mineral Springs was contacted. They are a large lot type of community, and so they opposed R10 zoning on their border. In terms of the positives and negatives of it, strictly speaking, this is in the rural residential portion of the land use map with the employment corridor overlay. Therefore, development should be either consistent with employment uses or lower density residential, and that additional development in the area could increase congestion along the roads. But the positives are that NC 75 is the edge of the single-family residential area, and this is able to be served by water and sewer. And because it has that connection to NC 75, we felt that it's not a absolute drop-off from one side to the other, and therefore higher density than what the rural residential would recommend is appropriate. Also, the connection to Stonebridge is very helpful, because if you're familiar with downtown Mineral Springs, it is very challenging to go down Potter Road and then make the left onto Old Waxhaw Monroe. Going towards the Stonebridge development, this development will give an additional distribution point for the traffic to get on 75 without having to go through that very congested intersection, as well as the over 30% open space that's provided, and that it can meet our development standards. So we recommend approval. You are here tonight to review this and make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. The applicant is here, and I assume there are also residents signed to speak. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have in the meantime.
I have one right quick. According to what you put up there, this could stress the schools in that area, correct?
Well, any development could stress the schools, but no, this is below capacity. It's at 79
I
to
thought
89%.
you said it generated 667.
No, the overall footprint for this school cluster, if every single available lot were developed, would generate this many students. I mean, this development would only generate a few dozen.
Okay.
I have a question, Bourne. Actually, several. So, open space, the the ponds, you consider that open space.
They are.
And I think that should be reconsidered by the county. You know, there are certain areas that have to be open space, but there's 91 homes, 48 acres, there's no park, no benches, and so that bothers me that, you know, they're not thinking about the residents as far as, you know, having them have an area for recreation, even if it's only sitting and relaxing. But 91 homes, I think it's overdeveloped. The other thing is that this is not an over 55,
No, it's
no,
not.
no, okay. So will I have an HOA?
Yes.
And sewers and water they can be connected to.
Yes.
Now, I have a question about the stone, I want to say stone hedge, stone ridge? Stone bridge. I see that there's a number of parcels that were subdivided, and it seems to me that from the picture that very few have been developed.
Well,
Built on.
that aerial's 2 years old.
2 years old.
Yes.
Would you say that the stone bridge is developed now? There's more homes?
Well, it's more developed than the aerial would indicate. I mean, I don't know the percent total build out.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. The street that's gonna cut through from Old Waxhaw Monroe Road over to Highway 75, is that going to be specified as a state road or an in-development road? What are the specs on that, do you know? The reason I'm asking is the statement was made that it would make easier access from Old Waxhaw Monroe Road to go to 75 to kind of cut back on some of the congestion. Is the road gonna be like a state road, or is it, do you have any information on that?
My understanding is these roads are going to be proposed for state acceptance. They're not private or gated.
Okay.
And so, you know, this road would be a collector road, so it would be several feet wider than your normal
Oh, that's what I
road.
was asking. Okay.
And regardless of whether it's private or public, that they have to be built to state standards.
Okay. Well, a lot of times you see some of the smaller roads in the developments, and there is a traffic congestion with people parking on the road and so
Sure.
forth.
Right.
And that was a reasonable question, was that?
Yes, sir. And there is a stub out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the sub out.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's for potential future development.
Yes, we've received inquiries in the past for that specific parcel, so we thought it was reasonable to have a stub out to that specific one.
Okay. Any other questions for Bjorn?
One other question. With this cut-through street, where you ride through a lot of developments and see cars that are parked on the street, so I'm just wondering if they have any specifications where there'll be no street parking, or will it be allowed? Well, the reason I'm asking again is for congestion. Is this being like a state road or in development road?
Well, the fact that it's a collector road, it's a little bit wider. It's honestly up to the HOA whether they're going to restrict on-street parking or not.
I'm just
But I would say that when you're talking about a road that wide, it would actually be a little bit beneficial to have some cars on the street,
Okay,
because otherwise then you get into speeding.
that's correct.
True.
That's another issue I was worried about too, was this being a cut-through with people speeding through there. What, do they have any provisions for limiting the speed limit through there?
Limiting the speed limit doesn't accomplish anything.
Okay,
People are
I'm
going to
just
drive what they
curious.
drive.
I'm just curious.
All right. All right.
You want me to bring it up?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
probably should.
So I'll bring up just to give some perspective on kind of what the baseline is for development here. Because if you were to develop this as RA 40 right now, you could say, oh, maybe 35 lots could be created out of this, which isn't necessarily the right way to look at it, because it went through an overall master planning for the project in the early 2000s. So I want to bring that up to give some perspective. So this is a scan from a long time ago, so I apologize. NC 75 is up here. The existing golf course is right here. This is where the driving range is, and this hasn't been built yet. And this is actually the parcel that is set aside as the future school site. So to put things in perspective, the parcel that we're talking about right now is here, and it shows 67 lots. So that's essentially your baseline under the smart growth development from 20 years ago. And, you know, it shows the connection as well. It's offset a little bit. I think that would be helpful for reducing traffic considerations, but I don't think what's proposed is the end of the world either. But it's very similar, and this one, the one that's proposed, has about 24, 25 additional lots.
Now, was this approved, the one you're showing me now, or?
It's entitled.
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna answer, I've just got a little more history on some of this. When the Board of Commissioners kind of, there's a couple of amendments to the smart growth provisions back in the late 90s and early 2000s. When they amended it the first time, essentially they took the density bonus from 25% down to 15%. To get that density bonus, you had to provide a range of amenities that honestly, today, they're typically, you see them in any subdivision, but back then you didn't. So you selected a range of amenities, and in exchange for those amenities, you got a density bonus. First iteration of that ordinance, again, this is late 90s, allowed a 25% density bonus for doing that. The Board of Commissioners, I might be a little bit off on my dates, but I think it was sometime in the early 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere in that time frame, completely did away with smart. Actually, I think it was later than that. It may have been 2006, 2007 time frame. Completely did away with smart growth. But in that first little change, when they went from 25% to 15%, the board essentially vested sketch plans, which is kind of, you don't see that generally, but the Board of Commissioners did that. They vested sketch plans, and they didn't have a sunset provision. So if you had a sketch plan approval, then it was vested forever. There's not many left, but there are a few. This is one that was partially developed at the time. It's been allowed to continue to develop under that vesting. So, you know, if the rezoning, obviously if the rezoning went through, they could do more lots. But if the rezoning was turned down, this is still.
They could do this.
They could do this. They could do a 67 lot neighborhood. So we wanted you to be aware of that. Just kind of background.
So right now, they could build 60-some houses, and they're perfectly good with that as far as everything.
Who's good?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have to.
The zoning.
They wouldn't have to
Oh, right.
rezone, yeah.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
no, okay, but they basically added 30 houses to the existing, or the first proposal.
Yeah, I think 91 is what's been.
But nothing can happen unless it's rezoned.
They couldn't build 91 homes if it
I
was
don't know.
rezoned.
Can
They could build this.
They can do
Okay,
that.
so right now, without interjecting from the county, they have a right to build 60-some homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Warren, I see in the upper left-hand part, is that open space? The dark color?
Yeah, any of the dark colors are going to be open space.
All right, good.
Of course, there's also the golf course through the middle of this, and that counts as open space.
That was allowed to be counted as open space under old provisions as well.
Yeah, well, under the old provision, this is one huge project, and so the open space for that was all over, so.
Right, and you were
If it
allowed,
went,
yes.
if it went through the old condition, it would still be a part of Stonebridge.
Right.
But
Some of
that's
this-
why
some of
going
this
through the
stuff-
the name was changed.
Yeah, because the entitlement runs with the land. It doesn't
Okay.
necessarily
All
run
right.
with the ownership, so.
I'm sorry, the entitlement runs forever.
Right, it runs with, yeah, in this case, the board did not set a sunset provision on that, on that vesting. A lot of times you can get up to 5 years, but the board didn't set a sunset.
Okay, all right. Any more questions, for Bjorn? All right, we'll reserve the right to call you back.
Of course.
All right. If the petition, or yes, ma'am, please tell us who you are and.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Pam Porter with TLA Associates. We're a landscape architecture and land planning firm out of Durham.
Welcome.
Thank you, and congratulations on your newly elected chair position. With me tonight is Jeff Palmer with Shenandoah Homes. He's the representative for the developer on this. And thank you to Bjorn for the overview of our request. I'm just going to quickly walk you all through some site plan items. So as Bjorn mentioned, we're requesting rezoning of this roughly 48-acre parcel from RA40 to R10 to facilitate the development of single-family detached units. We're not committing to anything else. It's going to be single-family homes. We're not going to say one thing and bring in townhomes. So I just want to make that clear. It's going to be single-family detached. That is the plan. Our minimum lot size will be 10,000 square feet. And we've got two different lot sizes shown on this plan. 70-foot wide lots and 96-foot wide lots. So some of them will be more than 10,000 square feet, but that is the minimum that we are planning and we're showing on this plan. We are required to have 30% open space, and we are providing 36. And that does include preservation of two, I'm going to use the mouse here, two of these wetland pockets. If you can see where the mouse is, they are in the open space, and we are preserving those as part of the open space area. And as Bjorn mentioned, there are no other environmental features on this site. We have two access points on Old Waxhaw Monroe Road. As you can see them on the plan, those will both be full access. You can turn left and right into each of those entrance points. And then we have the one connection that'll be restricted to right and right out that is on the north side connecting to NC 75 up there. We have landscape buffers along both Old Waxhaw Monroe Road and NC 75 that will be 40 feet in width, and then the remaining landscape buffers along the perimeter will be a 15-foot reforestation buffer. And we worked with, let me find the gentleman's name, Keith Herron, who is the urban forester with Union County Cooperative Extension, to come up with a detail of a heavily planted reforestation buffer for that 15 feet, which is along all the property lines less the 2 road frontages. And as Bjorn mentioned, we had a neighborhood meeting last week on July 8th. We had a lot of great conversation and questions with the neighbors. I don't believe anything was perceived as a huge issue. We did answer some questions that the neighbors had that Bjorn mentioned in his presentation, but overall, I think we, as far as I could tell, adequately addressed any of the neighbor concerns, and we did not have to add any conditions as a result of that meeting. And that's it for my notes. Thank you for your consideration. Both Jeff and I are here for question. Thank you.
Well, I have a question for either you or Bjorn. One, the original piece you showed us, did it allow, all right, tell me how to say it.
Bjorn.
Bjorn.
That's Yorn.
Bjorn. All right, did the original have an ability for them to put townhomes on it?
They were all single. You're talking about the original Stonebridge.
Right.
This area was all single family.
Right, so they couldn't put townhomes on it either way. Okay.
Yeah, the reason I mention that is just because in other towns where we do projects like this, there's sometimes a concern raised that we say we're gonna do one thing and then we're gonna do a site plan and it's gonna be something else. So I just wanted to be clear that what you see on the screen when it's submitted for the site plan, less maybe some tweaks once it's fully engineered, this is what we are aiming to provide, is what you're seeing on screen.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
You're quiet tonight. Thank you. All right, we had one person sign up, Hunter Blythe.
Hey, y'all. I lived.
Please state your name,
Yes.
Oh.
where you live.
Sorry, this is my first time being here. My name's Hunter Blythe. You see that orange part on the very top right of that map? I live just right of that. I've lived there just about my whole life. And I used to have turkeys, deer, and a whole bunch of stuff run through my yard. And when that place was leveled and the place across the street was leveled, they all disappeared. These homes, I feel like, aren't going to do anything great. That road is in disrepair. I try to walk my dog, and I can't go 4 feet without having to cross the road for one car, another 40, from the roundabout up there all the way to the intersection down there. It's tore to pieces, and those big trucks with those construction tear it up even more. And with this construction, they make these homes not for families or the residents that live there. A golf course is considered open space, which ain't wrong, but you ain't gonna bring your kids into the middle of a par 4. And to have a state road be your front yard ain't really that great. I mean, 10,000 square feet ain't really much to live off of neither. I think anybody that would grow up living in that place would just be looking to get out. That's about all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Bjorn, just out of curiosity, could you come back up a minute, please? The site where it shows the environmental features, the one I'm looking at, it's got the Google view on it. Could you expand, can you expand that just a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, so this is like 40-something acres of farmland.
Yes.
How much, is there that much farmland left around there, or is this pretty well gonna take all of the farmland out? Or
There's lots of farmland in this area.
That's what I'm asking. There is.
Is there enough? I don't know, but I know
No, I'm
there's
not
plenty
asking
of
that.
farming.
What I'm asking is, by taking this out, there's still open farmland around this area, so that if people want to get out and walk through the fields, they want to get out and walk through the woods. That's not an issue.
Well, it might be trespassing.
I understand what you're saying. But listening to him, it sounds like, hey, guys, we're going to lose all this land and we're going to be in nothing but development. And that was my concern about it, as far as me losing this much farmland. But it looks like there's still plenty of open farmland around there, the way I'm looking at that map.
There is, I mean, especially if you pan out, and we have other maps, obviously, that could show
No, that's,
more details, and we have Alan Aldridge here, who can talk about the activity around farming in the area. But the flip side is, the reason why we have different density recommendations throughout the county is because of proximity to infrastructure.
Right.
And, just general different styles of living. And
oh,
so
that's good. I'm good with
accommodate
this.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
How many cars did you say that would add? I think there's somewhere on there, 900 trips a day.
That's what's there now.
I mean, 10 per day per household, so yeah, 900 cars per day, which will be distributed from 3 access points. Some are gonna go towards Monroe,
So
some are gonna go
if
towards
it
Waxhaw.
stayed at the amount that they could build right now, that would basically take 300 trips off.
It would,
Okay.
approximately.
All right. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Bjorn. I'm good.
All right. All right, board. You have heard. Anything else you want to hear? Any other questions?
I'm good.
Generally quiet tonight.
Comment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Walker.
I find it somewhat odd that after we get through with this matter, then we're going to be hearing about the plan of strategies to preserve rural land. And yet here we are getting rid of 48-hour acres of rural land. And if that just continues, we're gonna have very little. And I was thinking too, we're kind of in a time where our society operates by a consumer mentality. I mean, 100, 200 years ago and so on, we didn't have big developments being built. If somebody needed a house built, they did it themselves with the help of their neighbors, or they may have hired somebody to do it. Now that we have people whose business is simply to build homes, without regard to the effects on the local community, I think we have to be mindful of that mindset. Now, another matter here, when I looked at the school situation, I was a graduate of Parkwood School, third graduating class. My first 8 years, I had gone to Furniture Factory Outlet World, as it is now. Then it was Jackson Elementary. Before that, when my mom went, it was 1 through 12. And later they moved the high school to Mineral Springs. So I went to Mineral Springs, 9th grade. Parkwood opened the next year. We had 66 in my graduating class. Now, if you've got a high school with 3 grades and their present average daily attendance is 1,083, that's like 6 times the number in each class as when I went to school. In 60 years, that has increased. So do we just let people move in, keep building all these things? And you know, now I understand they're going to build a new high school, move the middle school over, and then make an elementary school there. Well, somebody said they were combining Western Union and Prospect. Those 2 schools are big enough as they are. They don't need to be combined. At Jackson, we had a little over 100 students in 8 grades. We had 4 teachers. And one of the teachers was the principal. Beside him, a janitor and 2 lunchroom workers. That was all the staff we had. And what I realized since, and I became a teacher, I taught for 20 years. What I'm looking back and seeing is, I think we got a better education by doing it that way. Because in the 1st grade, we got to hear what the 2nd grade was learning. We were already familiar with it, so the next year was like a review. It got thoroughly ingrained. And I'm thinking, maybe we really need to go back to that. There's one other insight I've gained in the last couple of decades is, the truth is, the larger any organization or institution gets, the less personal it becomes, and that is the human cost we are looking at. And so, school-wise, we don't need to be built, creating bigger schools. This is already too big. And
I think one thing that we're thinking about though, Charles, it's already been approved for 60-something houses. That's ready to go. They could do that if they wanted to. So all they're asking for is just an additional 30-something. So it's already approved. They could go out there and build 65 houses now. So there's nothing we can do about that as far as changing it. So all they're asking for is maybe 30 more is what I'm looking at.
sorry, I say no, we don't.
I
Well,
understand what you're saying, yeah.
well, from what I understand and what I've been dealing with this board, I think we're out of the business of building so many houses right now. We're at a 90% residential, 10% business. So we can't change what was done years ago, but I can't see why in the world we would possibly rezone this and put 30 more houses there. You already can't get in up and down the darn roads around there now. So that's 600 more trips a day to deal with. And I mean, I get it, everybody's got to have somewhere to live, but good gracious, you're packing all these people in this county on top of everybody else, doing away with the farmland and everything else to pad pockets. It's got to stop. We need to get this ratio down a little bit. I'd like to see it 40-60. And I am very much against rezoning anything ever again at R10.
Well, I've relocated here to Union County, so I'm not against development, but I really think that 91 is over the top for this size parcel. And I don't include the open space as a pond that they need for drainage. So, lots of reasons. Actually, the plan that was originally approved a number of years ago, calling for 60-something homes, that looks a lot better, especially the road through, because you can't cut through straight. As may have to make a left and a right turn to get out. So anyway, I would, I'm ready to make a motion that we deny it.
I have one more statement before you do that.
Sure.
I am concerned about that cut-through road.
Yeah.
That's a big concern
Good.
with the traffic that's gonna be coming through there. So I can see where they're coming from, but on the other hand, what it's gonna add to that area and the possibilities of traffic flowing through there, I've just got concerns with that.
Well, I can say this on that. The other, Stonebridge created the need for a roundabout to begin with. Well, Stonebridge plus the others. And what's gonna happen is, when all that starts coming out there and creating problems, there's another roundabout that's gonna be needed, and everybody around there is gonna have to wait 30 years to get it, and they're gonna deal with it for that long.
Right.
So, I don't see no need to create a problem we know is gonna happen.
All right. Any other questions, any comments? Okay, you had a motion, can you, yeah, you ready?
Sure, I'll read this here. So, my motion is to recommend
You're
denial.
gonna have to read this.
Yeah, he's on the page.
I recommend denial of the zoning petition. Let me turn my mic on. I recommend denial of rezoning petition CZ 2025-004 and adopt the advisory consistency and reasonableness statement for recommendation of denial.
All right, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I think that is one big concern, is the traffic, the additional traffic that's gonna be developed out there. I think you got a point there.
Well, that and the reality, this is also bordering a municipality that is right, wrong, indifferent, highly opposed to this type of development. And, yeah, that cut-through road really bothers me.
Me too.
Yeah, all right. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. Thank you all.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. The county commission will hear this on what date? Do we know the date yet? That's all right. Thank you. So everybody knows the date. The 11th of August, the county commission will hear this. So everybody understands. We're just making a recommendation. The county commission will be the one to make the final decision, not us. We just tell them what we think. They are the ones with power. All right, next item on the agenda tonight is let me get back to my agenda. Rural Land Use Plan Draft Strategy Update. And Mr. Bjorn, sir, carry on.
Excellent enunciation.
We had a conversation about this, and I'm a southern boy, so I explained it. You think about it like this. That yonder is Yorn car. That's Yorn car, Bjorn, right? That's all you gotta do, remember it.
It's beautiful.
Or just drop the J, right?
It's true. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Alan Bauckham, the chairman of our committee, who's going to explain the proposed strategies and the public feedback to date, and hopefully stimulate discussion and feedback from this board.
And his name is easy, Alan,
Alan.
Yeah.
or call him Al or whatever.
Yeah, just call me.
Just call him.
Yeah, that's, it's nothing like BJ or Bjorn but it's Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Mark, Bjorn.
I know, I'm
Just say
working on it.
Bjorn.
I'm working on it.
Or you can say Bjorn.
I'm waiting for the college to open up a class to teach me how to pronounce his name.
Well,
And I will enroll when it opens.
Okay, but you gotta be a receptive vessel.
I am.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Bauckham.
Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen
Thanks,
of the Land Use Board. And first off, I offer my congratulations to the chairman and vice chairman of the board
sir.
for a very successful campaign y'all ran, and I applaud you for that.
It was tough. It was tough. It was.
Yeah, it was, yeah, and congratulations.
All that
So-
outside money.
So, I was here 3 months ago, I guess, and gave you an update on the steering committee for the Rural Land Use Plan and the strategies that we were working to develop. And we have told you then we'd be back, I think, in July, and it's July, and we are back. You've seen this slide before. What are strategies, policy, or action designed to achieve a goal? It's the teeth of the plan. It's what enables the plan to carry forward. One of the main things is that want it to be thoughtful so that we avoid, if possible, the unintended consequences of an initiated strategy. And ideally, they'll be effective on their own without requiring other strategies to be involved. We've presented these strategies to several entities, from the social media to the county website, to over 500 residents that we had viable emails from the last survey we took. And as of this morning, there were 107 responses to this current survey. And anticipate that we'll probably have 150 or so by Monday morning, which is when the survey is scheduled to close. And at any time anyone has any questions, please ask. The results of the survey thus far is, and this right here is strongly supported strategies, and the first one is the expanded agricultural easement purchase program. And this was the #1 strategy of the steering committee, and thus far it's been the #1 strategy of the responses back on the survey. The second one was the require contiguous areas for the open space for major subdivisions, not scattered, but for it to be contiguous. And then proposing removal of one or more bypasses. Currently, I think there are 3 bypasses scheduled that are on DOT proposal, a Waxhaw, Monroe, and a southern loop around Monroe, and a southern loop around Marshville. And so this is a proposal to remove one or more of these
that would, in theory, maybe take and reduce the impact of the desire for building in the rural areas. Yes, sir.
Step back up there where you're talking about the easement purchase program. That was where you were talking about where the state would buy property, the owner could keep the property for them. Is that what that was?
And there's a variety of entities that can do this, and it says easement here, and that's one thing. But easement, let's talk about development rights, purchasing development rights as an easement, where the development right is purchased on a piece of property, and in perpetuity, then it can never be developed.
Where is the money coming from to purchase that?
All right, currently, and we came before the commissioners 2 years ago, I guess in 23. And the commissioners approved taking the clawback money when land comes out of the Ag Use Deferment Program, the 3-year clawback. Familiar with what I'm speaking of? Taking those funds that come out and using that to purchase development rights.
So it's not coming out of taxpayer money?
It is not coming out of taxpayer money. These were monies that was not part of a county budget. It was discretionary funds. And the commissioners voted to allow, and this is Soil and Water Conservation District, and we have Alan Aldridge, the director of the Soil and Water Conservation, and have Jerry Simpson here as chairman, current chairman of Soil and Water Conservation, and they can speak more fluently than I can, but the Soil and Water Conservation District is the vehicle under which these monies are utilized to purchase these development rights.
Where is the money being used for? If it's not used for the development rights, what is that money being used for now?
Well, number one, there's not enough money. It's all being used.
For expenses?
No, not for expenses, for purchasing. And Alan, Jerry, one of you want to speak to what we've done thus far?
I think he's asking if it's not used for agricultural easements, where does it go? I think into
That's
the
correct.
general
Yeah,
fund.
previously,
All
what was it?
Right now, I think, Alan, you've got 34 applicants. How many applicants?
Right now, we have 9 applicants. It's been open for 4 weeks.
It's been open, the enrollment period has been open for 4 weeks, and have 9 landowners that have made application.
For
to-
this buyback?
Sir?
Applications for the purchase, easement purchase.
To
program.
sell the development rights, yes,
So
sir.
you got more applications than you got money.
Without question.
I guess-
That's gonna be the challenge of the program, is having enough funds. There was $874,000, somewhere in that range, that came out the first year, and the commissioners voted for this to be an ongoing use of these funds. So it's 800 and something thousand. The second year is a little less, like 830 and 24. And I don't know, have those funds been dispersed? Not yet.
So the money, the funds that are there, if 9 applicants have applied, it takes that buyback for 4 applicants, then the other 5 will just have to wait till more money comes in? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and there'll be protocol developed. I'm speaking for Soil and Water Conservation now, but I think there will be protocol developed of how they rank the applicants in order of how they actually disperse or utilize these funds, because it doesn't matter how much money there is, it'll all be used.
Well, the reason I'm asking this, I've had several people ask me, well, is that coming out of our tax money?
No,
It
sir.
sounds like a great deal, but we don't want to be paying for somebody else's easement rights
No.
as far as my tax money. That's the reason I'm asking.
No, it is not coming out of tax. There's no part of tax that it's being used for. Like I say, it is not coming out of, it's not part of the commissioner's budget that they approve. This is discretionary funds that has no impact on the county, on the tax base, anything.
Okay, on an average, I've got 50-acre farm in the land program.
That's right.
All right, I sell it. They go back 3 years, and I retrofit the taxes back up to standard. How many times does that happen in a year's time to where people are getting out of the farm program, and that's what you're trying to avoid? You want them to stay in the farm program. But how many times is that happening to generate enough money to do what you're saying we could do?
I don't,
Do you have any idea?
We don't have that answer. It's basically, most of this is ag, forest, support land that's coming out for development on the western side.
Okay.
Well, I got a question. What does it cost y'all per acre to buy this easement?
So,
Mr. Aldridge, would you
If-
like to come up to the mic?
Yeah, if you could-
So you be,
how are y'all?
Yeah, so please come up so we can hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, if you could get over to the, yeah.
There's a mic.
There's a mic right
Yeah.
To give you a little backstory on the land preservation program, we came to the commissioners in February with our 2 pilot projects. We had a 60-acre donated easement, 100% donated. All we're having to pay for is transactional cost, surveying, environmental assessments, title searches, legal work. So that's going to not cost the county much. 60 acres protected into perpetuity. The landowner still owns the property, can still sell the property. It can be farmed, it can go into trees, whatever they would like to do. There's a
Except development.
it's set for development. There's an impervious surface for farm buildings limit to, I believe, 2% of the total acreage to allow further expansion. But your question was, what is the cost of an acre, correct? So right now, our max payment, we are doing a 75% purchase with a 25% donation. So you've got to donate 20% of the PUV value. The 104 acre property, there's a purchase easement, and the 200 corridor off of Rocky River, we are paying $721,000 for 104 acres. That's the max we will be paying based on valuation. Now again, a property in Wesley Chapel, a property in Marvin, it's going to be a lot more valuable. Our ranking is set up to probably push the properties that we fund towards the lower value properties in the east. And the south, based on the committee and their goals, they're going to set our priority areas to go in our ranking sheet. Does that answer your question? Every property will have a different value.
Right.
But if you're going for a 75% purchase and 25% donation, you're probably not going to get funded with the amount of money we have.
Now, what are you speaking of, the 25% donation?
Wait, just to clarify, that 75% purchase is not the development value.
No, so it is what we're using the PV value. So
What's that?
the present use valuation value. So it's going to be greatly under what development value really is. So 104 acres, I think the fair market value on that property was $1,015,000. We're paying $721,000.
The tax
value.
The
Sorry.
tax value.
Yeah.
Well, what's the 25% donation? I don't understand the donation.
In a 100% donation, we pay $1,015,000 or somewhere close to that. So they're donating basically 200.
50,000.
Yeah, so it's a tax break for them.
Yeah,
Okay, so
they're
basically,
giving that up.
what it does is you're paying tax value for someone to agree never ever to develop the land.
It's not
Less
exactly
25%.
tax value, but we
Well, I
don't
mean,
need to get
you
specific.
know, but anyway, that's what it boils down to.
75% of that.
And that's the maximum payment.
Okay.
And we have a list of people that are interested to come in. And it's only been open 4 weeks. We're closing the application period August
Now,
5th.
let me rephrase another question different. The money that you're getting, that you use for this, before this started, what was that money used for then?
Didn't have it.
So what was it used in the county for?
Yeah.
Oh. It was discretionary for the commissioners.
It might have been used to,
They could make a donation, they could help do fund something, they could put it to fund balance if they wanted to.
So in other words, we're taking the fund money away and using it for something good.
I didn't say that. You said
I did. I said it. I'm not, yeah. Okay.
But it was discretionary, that if something came up, they had those monies that they could use.
On an average, how much a year was that value? Do you have any idea?
It varies every year. The 2023 was like 987. Alan said the 2024 was 867. So it depends on how much land rolls out of the PUD program. And it's a changing number every
Okay.
year.
But where does the money actually come from?
When someone sells their property to a development or they decide not to continue the use.
No.
Okay.
The money you're using.
well, that's what he's
That's
saying.
what he's saying.
I'll explain it. I think, what we just did, that 40-something acres, I don't know, it might have been in the program. If that 40-something acres was in the program and it's approved, it's gonna come out of the program, they're gonna build houses, so they're gonna have to pay 3 years back, and that money's gonna go in this, and that money's then gonna be used to.
The current landowner is responsible for paying that. Now, whoever, the buyer may agree to pay that as part of the purchase.
Right.
Okay, so basically what we're doing is, this program has been going on, basically. And then, so when they decide to sell back or buy the rights back, you use the money to basically put other farmland into it.
This is going back, this is taking funds that it was originally used for in the agricultural arena to give the tax break for, and I hate to use the word break, but it was allowing a present use value for agriculture. It's taking that differential fund, that tax difference, and putting it back to buying development rights where that land will stay open space, will stay non-developed. Mark, in perpetuity, which is a pretty long time.
Well, I guess my question is, what I'm missing here, the money you're getting is coming from land that was in sort of like that program earlier, and somebody's paying back the rights to build on it, right?
No.
I can explain this.
Okay.
I can break this down. All right. You got land that's, it's over 10 acres. You can put that land in a farm use tax rate. For easy math, let's say, your land was worth, $10,000. All right. The counties, all right, so farm use rate, it basically wipes that out, right? It's putting you in the farm use tax rate.
Mm-hmm.
To say what your tax bill may have been, $5,000 farm use tax rate, your bill coming each month or each year is going to be $500. So that difference in that money, you with me, from $4,000 to that difference, $3,500. Let's just say $3,500 times 3.
But who's paying the $3,500? Because you got it in the farm.
You have to
You
pay
are.
it back. You are.
Once you
The
sell it.
landowner does. Once you sell it.
Hold on a minute, wait a
If
minute.
he sells his property to a developer, if he's got his property in a farm, and he's paying $500, when the normal tax bill, if it wasn't being farmed, is $5,000. If he sells that property to a developer, he's gotta pay
That 3 years back.
difference.
4,500 times 3.
Yeah,
Right.
he's gotta pay it.
And so that difference.
I
that
got you.
$800
Okay, I get it now. I got it now.
is
So
cumulative.
you got 100 acres that you do your farming on, and you're paying the farm use tax program. Then you decide to sell it to a developer.
Exactly.
Then 3 years of the regular tax rate has to be paid back.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Now,
Okay.
Here's the issue, though.
And it doesn't have to go, it doesn't have to go into development. It's just that if it comes out of the program.
Right, comes out of, but my concern, and it's the double-edged sword, I suppose, but if there is no development going on, if we don't allow development, if we don't have some kind of balance of a development, there ain't gonna be no land going out of the program, and there ain't gonna be no money to say, it's one of those, man, the death bomb.
It's a little conundrum on it.
It's still staying rural though.
It's still
so we're all
staying
in.
rural.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true. That's very true. It's like, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's.
You do still have families where they're given a child land.
That's right.
Still even an acre or two.
That's coming out. There is some, yeah, oh yeah. You're right, you're right, you're right, you're
And
right. But
fragmentation, when stuff gets below the 20 acres of forest land, the 10 acres of ag land, the fragmentation will pull it out also.
Pulls it out automatically.
yeah, well, that's true. But I think the thing is that, and you said it, I think, the western part of the county, you're gonna see some development, and the money that comes from that is probably gonna be used to save the eastern part of the county.
We just have to
It's
look at
just more affordable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I didn't say this, it locks the parcel lines. So that's the other, it eliminates fragmentation.
Right, yeah. Okay,
Now,
sorry we kidnapped you guys. Go ahead.
But someone wanting to take theirs out, if they can determine before it comes out about if they have children or grandchildren they want to give some land to, they determine that, and
Gotcha.
that's carved out. And so it's not that it prevents that aspect of it. It's pretty much, it's one of those win-win-wins for the end goal.
Right. No.
Any other questions on that?
I think we've got our math lesson tonight.
Maybe.
We know how to say Bjorn, and we know math, so we're good.
Life's pretty good.
And you understand? Y'all good?
I'm good.
Man, we're getting this thing. Go ahead.
All right, so the proposal, the removal of one or more of the three proposed bypasses.
Yeah.
Limit subdivisions in certain zoning districts was another strongly supported strategy, both steering committee and on the survey. And then the last one, strongly supported, is to protect intact forest in this current 30% open space requirement for major subdivisions. And then tied with that was protected species, wetlands, and streams. But the reality is, if you protect forest, if you have intact forest protected in that 30% or in that set aside, and you protect streams, you're probably protecting the species and the wetlands for the majority of it. So,
The hill splitters strike again.
well, that's, you know. And the last statement on there, implementing these strategies would require a combination of the Unified Development Ordinance amendments and some additional county funding and coordination with municipalities and North Carolina DOT. Supported strategies, not strongly, but supported, was expand the rural area on land use map. Expand the rural areas, and rural areas on this map are green. And this would require an amendment to the land use map as it currently is. Neutral strategies, neutral supported strategies, is adding 6 rural centers to the land use map. And I'll just say, I think we could have worded the survey a little, I'll say better, because there was, I think, some confusion that when we say rural centers, that they were thinking of shopping centers. This is not what that's meaning. This is meaning a country store, a gas station, if you will, that type thing. 200, 218, that type, just small convenience. Second bullet is allow low-impact commercial and industrial uses. Again, this was neutral, but it was, a lot of people, respondents on the survey viewed it as being, they saw commercial and they saw industrial, and they were thinking of heavy industrial, I think, and noise and dust and these types of things. No, the steering committee meant, the intent of it was for trades, plumbers, electricians, lawn maintenance, these types of things, the low convenience, people that are actually in the service trade that residents need, want, and is convenient to have locally. And then the respondents, you know, they wanted, maybe they were neutral or didn't have, it wasn't favorable, but then they wanted to say 5 to 10 acres would be a minimum lot size, or they wanted to give their input in it then. But, and then requiring these strategies would require amending the UDO to add a new rural business use to the RA zoning.
Mr. Balcom.
Yes, sir, Rick.
One thing that questioned about this, when you start putting limits on small commercial, the thing that I'm coming to mind is 601 South, Hargett Road intersection. They're looking at putting a Dollar Tree, Dollar General, 4 or 5 acres down there they're gonna work with. How will this affect those type of businesses with what you're looking at now to keep, is it gonna affect the community development as far as the Dollar Generals or whatever's going in? How will this affect that, or will it affect it at all?
It wasn't intended to be the Dollar General types from I think from the steering committee, but Bjorn, it was meant for smaller than that, not commercial.
I think the 601 corridor is business anyway.
Yeah, that's a rezoning. So if you want to propose a rezoning, you can propose rezoning. What this is meant to do, or that was meant to do, the previous slide, is you guys see almost on a monthly basis someone who set up their business out in the country, ran into code violation, zoning violation issues, and now they gotta get right with the county. This is giving people who want to start their small business, not a restaurant, not a retail store, not office, to have their contracting or trade type of business on a large lot in exchange for significant open space. So if you had, say, on the survey it says, hypothetically, you could have a 5-acre parcel and 1 acre could be your business, the other 4 would have to be set aside as open space on that property. You wouldn't have to go through rezoning. You could do that by right.
Okay, so it's not going to affect the rezoning part that would be coming before us?
It allows the small business owners, you saw it last month with,
Stevens fit in
with
it.
Stevens,
Yeah.
with Gordon. You've seen it with other ones, 601 South, we saw it with a couple of years ago with their landscaping business. They had to go through the arduous rezoning process, and maybe they don't get approved. They generally do. And the problem is, for every one that you see, I probably talk to 10. And some of them they're just like, I'm not going to listen to the county. And they go and do their business anyway. Maybe it's fine, and they've done it for enough years that they're exempt from zoning, or maybe they get caught and then we have to go through a lot of legal and staff time. So this gives people the flexibility to establish their low impact business without having to go through rezoning, if they have a healthy amount of land.
That makes sense. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, but if you wanted to go through rezoning and do something else, you could do so.
Good
Appreciate
question.
that. Yes, sir.
No, good question.
Thank you.
Not supported strategy with the survey, nor with the steering committee, was purchase parcels in priority areas in exchange for higher density in remaining areas. And what is basically showing from the survey is that any statement that gives any flexibility to a developer, a builder, or a landowner to sell to developer builders was being opposed to. So. How to restrict major subdivisions as a use? Strictly, subdivisions is not a land use. The current general statutes in North Carolina limit downsizing of property. Eligible strategies require special use permit for major subdivisions. Add an additional requirement that major subdivisions, maybe it would have to have access to at least one public utility. And ideal strategy, be to downzone all land in the rural areas and process subdivisions as rezonings. Questions on that? Good. Right here is showing the availability of water in the county. So if, for instance, if it were to require one public utility, and there's where water's available. Not when you go east and south, north, northeast, east and southeast, not a whole lot. So that's just one option, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good.
Now, before, one of the challenges, and Darren, you spoke to it, one of the challenges is going to be funding. And what we've found, what they've determined is soil and water. There's a couple things. One, soil and water is approved as the vehicle in this county to hold these easements. And they have all the right to do that. They've been given that authority. But equally as important maybe is Soil and Water Conservation District has taxing, don't like the word, but it has taxing authority. To get funds to take and purchase development rights of any consequence, we're going to need more money than what this clawback money is going to give. That's a reality. And I'm saying it to this board because I want your feedback that there's a couple of things, one being a bond referendum where the public can actually put their vote where their mouth is now, because what I hear from people is, oh, we don't want development, we want open space, we want to keep it rural as long as we can, we like what we see, stop it, no more. But that referendum would allow them to put the vote and the pocketbook where the mouth is.
Where would that money for the bond referendum come from? That goes back to the taxpayers again, doesn't it?
It goes, yes.
So-
Yeah,
so basically-
it goes back to taxpayers, but if we want to if we are committed to taking and preserving open space, to have this county not look like Mecklenburg 30 years from now, 50 years from now, or 20, I don't know what the number is. But if we want to take and have some semblance of open space, then it's going to require funds. That's a reality.
Well, I think we're all, as Mr. Walkup referred to earlier, we're trying to preserve farmland.
Yes, sir.
Which that's what you're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
But when you start bringing bonds involved in it, then that's my tax money that's going to be paying the bond back for Mr. Walkup to get money for his property to keep it. So is it fair for me
He
to
gets
pay?
he gets to keep it, he gets to keep the land,
Sure.
but he doesn't get the revenue from development.
Oh,
He
I
doesn't get that.
well, I understand that completely. But if we do a bond referendum, then it's my tax money that's paying him for his property.
But you're getting the open space which you said you wanted.
And in the long run, you'll be cheaper
Yeah.
doing that than all these taxes that's gonna keep
Well,
increasing.
I totally agree with what you're saying.
Every penny, I'll just put it this way, to bring it simple, since we're doing the math lesson. Every penny on an ad valorem tax, about 6.1 million. Currently, that 6.1 million would probably allow 800 to 1,000 acres of development rights a year. In 10 years, 8,000 to 10,000 acres that would be preserved in perpetuity. Doesn't matter where the values go. Doesn't matter what surrounding land is bringing. It remains non-developed. Where can we get better value than that? Now, this taxation can be on sales tax. I'm just saying a referendum that allows the people
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
to vote what they're telling me, what I hear them say that they want. No development, stop the development. Oh, this is crazy. The roads can't take it, all of these things. So I'm asking just for if no more than a nod of the head or a show of the hands, what do each one of you think about something like that? Is there a yes or a no or a?
Well, I know, I'm from Suffolk County up in New York, and we passed a large bond referendum, and the people vote. So most people voted for it. And the tax went in, it's a small tax, but it went in and they had all that money for buying development rights.
Yeah.
So,
same thing.
Yeah.
Well, here's the struggle that I see countywide. Over the past, what would you say, 30-plus years, we've allowed a huge development issue. We've allowed all this influx of development. And, everybody can agree that for every house you build, there's a certain amount of taxpayer money that's going to go to the amenities that counties, for the most part by law, have to offer. Well, right now, we've got a sheriff's department over there, the jail's busting at the seams, and our county commissioners, I like every one of them, and I know that they speak based on what their constituents are telling them. So the constituents of Union County don't want their tax money to go up to build a new jail. So therefore, if you look at it from the sheriff's department standpoint, we have a lot of crime that don't get really looked at right in this county because they ain't got no room to put them if they arrest them. So we got that problem. Until we attack the problems that we already have, and that's tax money. I guess what I'm saying is, if the residents of Union County aren't willing for their taxes to go up for law enforcement to arrest criminals, I think we're going to have a hard time convincing them to put their tax money toward this, even though I agree with the open spaces.
I agree with what you're saying to a point. I respectfully disagree with your ultimate opinion there. The only people that I hear that have any objection to what I've just said, real objection to it, builders, developers, and someone in that business. The people that are living in the county, planning on staying here, they want the open space. They want to keep it as rural as it can. Now, I'll say this, no growth is not healthy. I own land in a couple of counties that there's virtually no growth, and that's terrible. That's the highest taxes I pay, period. You know why? There's nothing to support anything.
But
Well,
the
my
amenities
concern-
still have to
So,
be
so
there.
there's a balance here, but we've already got lots of growth. We're gonna continue, Union County is gonna continue to have growth. There's, what you got, 16 municipalities, 14? 14 municipalities. Have no control over the municipalities. And so growth is gonna continue. Industry needs to continue. We gotta have, to increase that 8, 9, 10% industry business ratio, it's gotta grow, it's gotta change. But if we wanna conserve open space, we can talk about everything we want to, but when we look back, when others look back 50 years from now and say, hey, they had a chance to, why didn't they?
Well, I think the thing that's gonna come up, and the thing that's really bothered me, is the tax situation. If you could do it on a sales tax.
Do it.
Do it on sales tax.
Do it
So
on
that the
sales
average
tax.
elderly person that's out here that's doing everything they can to keep their land just to pay taxes, they're not burdened with it. So if that's presented properly, so that, okay, there's gonna be a tax increase. If you buy something, then yes, you're gonna pay it, you're gonna pay taxes to help fund this. But just general overall taxes on the average elderly couple that can't keep what they've got now, we're going to have to be real careful with that tax situation there.
But there is an elderly program too that lots of people are not aware of on it, Rick, and they don't take advantage of on the tax program.
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there. And I don't, look at York County. They've had their pennies for progress, you know, as an example. And they have a program now where they're using, they're taking and using funds now to take and buy development rights.
Well,
So,
I just want to say, with all the support you're getting for this plan, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that 70% of them, when you look at them and say, hey, your taxes is going to go up 0.5% for this project, 70% of them ain't going to be happy about it no more.
I'm never happy about taxes going up, but I'll tell you this. Every school bond that's ever been proposed passes.
Absolutely, I agree.
Every one.
Should.
And
But
probably 90% of the people that I speak with will be opposed to it.
But they vote for it.
Somebody voted for it.
I don't know, I'm not saying they vote for it, somebody
is.
does.
Well, but
So-
just like what I was talking earlier about.
And this goes deeper than the school bond.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, sir, Derek.
Well, I was just going to reiterate what, you know, the sentiment is, I mean, every person I talk to, they feel like they're been subsidizing this thing. In the past, all right, I'm going to step on some toes. But God, you know, God rest his soul, Stony Rush and this board that we have now, most county residents think they're the only ones that's really taking this thing serious. And so now, here we are with, you know, this rural land use plan you got. Wouldn't it have been great if we'd have had this 20 years ago?
Man, wouldn't it?
Well,
But what I'm saying is, let me finish.
Yeah.
All these long-term county residents, I'm not talking about the ones on the western side of the county, but the long-term residents feel like they've been kicked in the rear.
Well,
Because they're subsidizing. They're subsidizing Eastwood Homes. They're subsidizing Centex Homes. They're subsidizing through building more roads, building more schools.
well, I don't want nobody to think that I am opposed to this in any way. All I'm laying out here is, we're gonna have to lay out a plan that everybody really understands and can grasp, because you're gonna have to put on your car salesman outfit here to make this pass. Because it's very important, and it's detrimental that it passes.
Well, not-
It's like I said, 20 more years, regardless of what, well, first of all, the current commissioners we have right now are, let's just face it, they're not gonna be here 20 years from now on this board. And we don't know what the next set of commissioners, how they're gonna feel. They might be wanting to put 5 houses on an acre. I mean, we got some knuckleheads down there in the state that would like to do that. So, you know, we don't know if they drink out the same water bottle or not.
I think we're all in agreement with that. We just gotta be careful how we do it. We all wanna preserve the farmland.
Absolutely.
We just gotta be careful
And
how
it's
it's
not,
presented.
I want to be real clear, it's not just farmland, it's open space. You know, it's the appearance of. And there's lots of directions we can go, but one of the things that just immediately has a distinct and very effective impact is the purchase of development rights. And it allows that landowner to retain ownership of the property, that it can continue to be farmed, it can continue to have cows on it, or grow trees, or whatever. But it won't be developed, so.
Well,
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a great thing, but Mark has owned to something with regard to the strategy.
Yes, sir.
Of bringing this down, because you know what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a meeting somewhere over here
Yes, sir.
on 74.
Yes, sir.
There's gonna be a group of people come in a room with checkbooks, and you're gonna have $100,000 raised to run a campaign to fight the bond referendum.
Without question, hey, already,
And our mailbox is gonna be full of beautiful little flyers telling us how horrible this thing
yes,
is.
sir.
Well,
And you know where it's all coming from.
Yes, sir, we both do.
Yeah, well, Mr. Walkup was talking earlier about the earlier school days. Well, I remember when I was in school, they actually taught us science. And in that science, they taught us how important it was to have trees and plants throughout the earth for our ability to breathe good air.
That's right.
And we even done experiments by the terrariums, and you put the little plants and the frogs and all that in there, and it created its own moisture, and everything thrived to prove their point. And everybody's forgetting that now.
I agree with you.
You're
They
right.
forgot it.
Just
And,
go to
you know,
Waxhaw.
it's gonna be like what we've seen a lot of other things happen. Eventually, people's gonna go to having more problems than they got now, and somebody says, oh, we cut down all the trees.
It's
Well,
sad
I
to see
mean-
all the trees that are being taken down, knowing from what Mark said that it's where we get our oxygen from. That's how we live. And they're not, a lot of them's not being put back.
So let me, what we need from this board
Yes, sir.
is we need your input. And it can be for individuals, it can be from the board as a unified board, but we need your input back. The steering, I'm speaking of the steering committee now.
Right.
You know, if you have different strategies that we can use, take these, amend them, and embellish, do whatever you need to, but we need your input, because we're gonna be back to you probably in October, Bjorn?
You can, or
October, November?
definitely, it could be September or October.
September, October, so we're supposed to be at the commissioners in November. Because really, their stamp on strategies this year.
Right.
And calendar gets real short.
Well, I challenge you guys with something. Everything in my lifetime that I've seen be successful, it was successful because of a great campaign for it. And as a businessman in Union County, and there's a lot of other business people in Union County, I think, that we might could talk to that would maybe promote the campaign to discuss how important this is. And regardless of what the people sitting on this board think, if enough of the public tells them what to think, it will be that way, or they won't be on this board anymore.
Valid. Yes, sir.
And I'm all in for it.
There's a lot of steps we're gonna have to go through too. We're gonna have to get approval from Raleigh to put a referendum for a sales tax, right? Don't we have to do that, I think? I'm so sure.
No, don't think so.
Do we?
He said, we're working through legal to get those answers.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on that just a little bit. So some of these these are strategies. So they're a little bit deeper than the vision. But some of these will require, the ones that require amendments to the ordinance, for example.
That's tough.
You pass a strategy to tell us let's look at limiting subdivisions, for example. That's a broad strategy. Okay, well, how do we do that? So we're going to have to develop ordinance language to bring that back to you after the plan is hopefully adopted around the November timeframe. We would bring language back. Much like if we say, hey, let's expand the easement purchase program, then Alan and his group would go and research methods by which that could happen, and then they would run it by legal, and it would go through that kind of the same process, but a different board. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that you're not saying this is exactly what we're doing today. There's more steps that will follow.
Right. Yeah,
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Please push what I talked about, getting private, public, whatever support, because, look, we just, in a commissioner meeting here a while back, it was made public that there's been over $1 million spent to get advice on what they need to do for a jail. And every time the advice is paid for and comes to whatever committee, they are offended for what they suggested. Well, I don't know why they just didn't, 20 years ago, they just didn't do what they wanted to do anyway. But I mean, we don't need to blow a bunch of more money thinking about stuff. We need to get action.
To your point, the easy thing to do is develop the strategies. The more challenging thing to do is to implement the strategies and to implement them successfully. If this committee doesn't develop strategies with the implementation process, and I'm saying the steering committee, with the assistance of the land use board, with the assistance of commissioners, with the assistance of all the other entities, from business, from individuals, from everybody involved, then we failed. Whatever those are. And when it's looked back on in years to come, and says exactly what you just said, Mark, about I don't know why 20 years ago they didn't do. I don't want people looking back 20 years from now and saying, why didn't they do such, whatever that is.
Exactly.
And if I sound like I'm passionate about it, I am. Because I don't want Union County to become Mecklenburg. I don't want Union County to become the western part of the county. And I'm serious, folks. And but thank you for your time. Look for your input, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Simpson, your name is on here to speak, sir. Come on up. And I don't know how you follow that, but you go on. Following Alan is always a task, but I believe you have the ability to do it.
Thank you for your time and for your public service. I I believe I was misled. They said sign the paper so that they would know I would be here.
You're required to speak for 25 minutes at least.
But ditto to a number of the things that Alan said. And some of you may not know me or know what I used to do, but it's been, oh gosh, probably 25 years, if that much, that I presented a program at Rolling Hills Country Club, invited all the municipalities and the leaders of the county and community, and it was called, it was on conservation subdivisions and green growth and preserving open land and open space. That was 25 years ago. And as Mr. Tilley said, we've continued to fight this battle of rapid growth and development in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, as Alan tends to throw off on, pushing into our area. And it's not just Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Look over there on Lancaster Highway, Johnston Road, just on the edge of Union County. It's pushing, it's just blowing up that way, and Lancaster County the same way. So the other thing I think we sometimes forget about, and the comment is, the young man's gone. He said he wanted to keep farmland so we could walk on it and fish on it and all that stuff. Well, there's a thing called private property rights. And that's important. The other thing that's important that many times when we get in these conversations we tend to forget is that farming is a business, agriculture is a business. People sell their property because they're getting out of farming, they don't have a family that wants to continue. And so those are freedoms that we have to decide what we want to do with our property. So we have to be, as we said, unintended consequences, we have to watch out for those. I remember years ago when we talked about this, and I was shocked. And I may be wrong, it may be a little bit of change, but there was only 15 to 20% of the land that was farmed in Union County that was owned by that particular farmer. In other words, that generation. It was relatives leasing it. And so when you get a generation or two away from that farming enterprise, you lose the priorities of that family. They have no interest in farming, and they want to sell it for the highest dollar, or maybe they want to turn it into a shopping center or whatever. So this is just a lot of the things that you take into consideration. I'm certainly here. I'm a pragmatist. Charles is my cousin, I have to tell you that. We drink the same water down there at Cane Creek. But Charles is one of those idealists, and I tend to be a little bit of a pragmatist. I said, and I was responsible for voting to approve the development over on Potter Road, the over 55 development. I wish I could go back 100 years and live in that era, but I can't. And we'd like to go back to the good old days. Some people tell you they weren't that good. But we have to be pragmatic. At the same time, we can be intelligent and make smart decisions and make Union County a better place to live, work, and raise a family 50 years from now, like Alan said. I appreciate what y'all do. I've sat in those chairs. I know what it's like. So I appreciate you. Love what you do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you, Jerry.
Appreciate your comments.
Let me add a tag to your thing about coming down 521 from Charlotte to Lancaster. Yesterday at 3:30, I was sitting at the stoplight on the Lancaster Highway at 485. And the traffic was such, it took 19 to 20 minutes to get the 1 mile through Ballantyne. 3:30 in the afternoon.
Hey. All right, Mr. John Linton, Sr.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
And lady. I just wanted to, I took a couple of notes here, but wanted to appreciate Mr. Wallicup, is that how I say it? Your comments. I truly do. we need more men and leaders speaking up like that. And all of you made the vote today based on the strategy that you previously set. And I think that's really well done. But your story is something I will reflect on, and I just wanted to thank you for that. It was very special. I also wanted just to thank this group for the work on this rural land use strategy. As a resident, it's encouraging to see the county taking seriously the need to protect the character and atmosphere of Union County's rural areas. And sitting through some of these meetings in the last year, I've appreciated the consideration and the collaboration all of you go through. And you listen well, and you can see that you're very interested and you're very concerned, and I just wanted to thank you for that. I'd like to encourage this group to continue to get to know your taxpayers and your residents even better. The presentation was very helpful and informative. I'm not sure the response rate, it was at 107 or whatever. I don't know if that was a statistically valid response rate or not, but it was certainly informative information, and it's a great start to go off of with that information. But surveys and questionnaires can be cost effectively implemented in today's digital environment so that everyone understands what's going on. Full transparency just never fails. And I think, like I've heard, getting to know everybody more, just by the people that you know, but today's tools are very cheap and effective to get out to know everybody. So if that response rate of 107 it's a great start. If that's 2%, there's other tools that you can get 20% and even 80% just to kind of quantify the data so that you can understand it a little bit better. So again, I just want to thank you guys for your efforts in keeping Union County beautiful, and God bless you guys.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
I did this.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you, everyone. It's, we definitely have our work cut out for us, and, you know, I recall when we went through the whole 2050 process, and I look back to that and hours and hours of time that was spent by hundreds of people, and we do that. And what a tendency has been in the past is we put this beautiful book together and we put it up on the shelf. Oh, look what we did. And we never take it off that shelf, and nobody knows what's in it. And it just sits there and collects dust. And then about 20 years later, we start another one, or 10 years later. I really believe this time we're not doing that. And I feel like we're really taking it off the shelf a little bit. And I pray we continue to do that. And I think this is the process. And if we do that and we stay focused on that and we don't forget it, hopefully 20 years from now we'll look back and say, man, I'm glad we did that. And I think it's a document that needs to be constantly updated, to 2051 and 2050, But thank you all. Anything else? Anybody?
Planning staff report.
Planning?
I've sat here quiet.
Yeah.
Relatively. But think back of the subdivisions back, and I've been here 25 years. And they build a subdivision, they build houses in the trees and last some of the things. And now we go in and we just bulldoze the whole thing flat. And we're losing it.
All because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Well, one thing on that, somehow we need to stop cutting the trees down and farming it for a couple of years and then developing it. That would help a little bit. But I just want to say, Alan, if I can help you guys and support you with this, just let me know.
Thank you.
And if
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you may. Well, you got 1 second.
Any of you have not done the survey, there's your cards right here. There's a QR code on there. please go and
Already have some.
All right. Planning staff,
relatives or anybody else, or even enemies.
thank you.
Take extras, distribute them as well.
I'll tell everybody if they mention Alan's name, it counts twice.
If I
Is there a
may,
planning staff report?
Yeah, I
Any-
think
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to say thank you to everybody involved in this, that we're addressing it. That's been very encouraging to me. I'd like to pose one question, not to discuss now, but to think about for next time. And that is, rather than the focus being on government solving the problem, why not focus on the individual community being responsible for solving the problem? Now, one quick example, when I went with this committee in May, and they visited a house on Walcott Road, named for my ancestors, well, I discovered from the family that had been living there for 48 years that, in fact, that house was built for one of my relatives, Daniel Walcott, and they showed me the sideboards they had taken down where the people that built it helped build that house, not a developer, not a home builder. And one of the builders was my grandfather's grandfather. And I asked them about the 22 acres across the road. And they told me that a few years ago, some lawyers, I guess that owned it, were planning to develop it. They found out about it, and he said it cost him his retirement, but they bought it. So there, they solved that problem. And so I'm saying maybe we need to think about a strategy where it is dependent on each local community to make the decisions, just like they helped build that house years ago, to decide how to do this now. Maybe a group might go together and buy that land rather than this easement program. Just a thought. Think
All right.
about it.
Planning staff, anything?
The board approved the Needham rezoning last night. That was the one, they had the light industrial piece. They wanted to build, the family wanted to build the house on the corner.
Right.
So the board went ahead and took action on that, approved it last night.
Right. Anything else? Okay. All right. That being said, do I have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you all.